Everything on my channel is about trying to get you the highest return possible for any action you take. And this has to be one of the strategies that can get you some of the highest returns, where it's like 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 40 times the output for much less input. This legitimately could save you years of your life. This is really important. By the end of this video, you should know how to structure your work in a way so that this happens. I got bad news for you. One day you are going to die. Memento mori. Right now, you are currently spending your time. You're actually spending it pretty well watching my content. Good job. But you are currently losing your most valuable resource. And yes, time is more valuable than literally anything else. It's more valuable than money, more valuable than fame or anything because, a quality moment is priceless. This is actually what literally everybody is trying to optimize for in their life is quality moments, quality time just existing. Whatever that looks like to them is different, but we all want the same thing. We want these quality moments in our life. We want this quality time. And monks have this figured out. Monks are people who have basically just kind of broken the system and said, you know what? I'm just going to maximize the quality of my time and literally not care about anything else. This is by far the most productive state you could ever be in. It's just like meditating and enjoying existing indefinitely. But okay, maybe you're not this guy. Maybe you can't be a monk. Maybe you want something. Maybe you have a vision, burning desire for a vision that you can't kill it with monk mode. It's okay. That's why I'm here too. You know that part of the latency between you and the things you want is time. And obviously, you want what you want sooner. So what you will wind up doing as somebody with ADHD, when you have a brain that craves urgency because it's stimulating, and you also have impatience and impulsivity, urgency, impatience, impulsivity, you say, okay, how can I get what I want as fast as possible? And you start speed running. You go gun-ho. And you're like, all right, how can I make this bag? How can I get what I really want out of life? Maybe it's not even money, maybe it's something else. You have a goal and you want to get to it as fast as possible. But here's the thing. Any pattern that shows up in reality over and over again is likely true. It's something that is trustworthy. And there are a million different variations of this same idea. Slow is fast. But let's be real here. That's not enough to actually get you to convince you to go slow. And that's not even really, there's no instructions there. So I'm going to give you the string of words that finally helped me change my mindset. And this is it. This is the formula. Slow equals less stress equals more clarity and less mistakes, which costs you time and money, which have costs associated with them. Time, money, emotions. When you make mistakes, it's hard on you. So you save on these things, which is more resources that get poured into whatever you're doing. And then guess what? This more clarity equals compounding performance profit. Now, what do I mean by that? When you use clarity and strategy instead of just going gun-ho and being reactive, when you make a plan that is wise, you get a much better return on your time. And so if you live a life where you're not stressed out, and this is just the norm, this is like, this is what you have to do, and you do this every single time, then guess what? You're getting this higher ROI every single time versus a lower ROI every single time. And there is a difference of magnitude in these, right? So there's like a difference. This difference becomes exasperated because every time you enact this mindset, every time this mindset comes into play, and this mindset wins out over the go, go, go mindset, whatever you gained from this, it's times 1. And so if this mindset wins out 8 times a day, you get 8 times the results. And that may not be entirely mathematically true, but it's at least a good way of thinking about it. That is true as a general trend. Literally everything you do and think in life compounds, because that is how brains work. Whatever action you take primes you for taking the action a second time. This is how we grow. This is how we learn. So if you take a bad action, you prime yourself for taking another bad action. This is why addiction is so vicious. This is why you cannot tell yourself, oh, just one more. Because, oh, just one more always, always, always primes you for another round. What this means is that even small, little, tiny, itty bitty baby steps prime you for better in the future. And if you can just get enough of these in a row, guess what? Then you forged a flow. Now it's become easy. Now there is a dopamine feedback loop that you've discovered, which your ADHD brain loves. And guess what? You're just along for the ride to success. So let that be known. Every single thought and every single thing you do, every decision you make compounds because it will happen again, or the same pattern will occur again. And every time, every instance of that pattern occurring, guess what? That's multiplication. You did it one time, you got 1 times the results. You did it 2 times, you got 2 times the results. You did it 3 times, you got 3 times the results, good or bad. And so if you make the right decision 100 times in the row, guess what? You get 100 times the results of somebody who did not. So, okay, we got that, but now I want to make it even more powerful. Let's 100x your 100x by figuring out what I call the proper order magnitude. Proper order magnitude is very simple. It's just the order, the sequence in which you could do things that is going to get you the highest ROI. So let me give you an example. You as an individual could decide, you know what? Today, I'm going to start learning how to skateboard. I'm going to become a pro skater. You just make this fiery commitment in your heart that you're going to be the best pro skater starting today. You understand that there's a path, a process that you have to go to get there. So what do? You go out, you buy a skateboard, and you just start skating around and skittering and scuttlebugging. Look at him go. And so you just kind of brute force it and just keep skating and then keep telling yourself, I'm going to be a pro skater. And then whatever kind of happens that leads you to that, you kind of like let fate and destiny. Like maybe you run into people who teach you some things. Maybe you do XYZ. Maybe you just learn as you go along as you're skating around. Maybe you put in a ton of hours and that's great. That's awesome. Now, let's look at somebody else who has the same thing. They decide one day, I'm going to become a pro skater. I know I can do it. It's happening. So what he does first is he thinks to himself, okay, let me just take like a day. Let me just take one day to think about how I'm going to do this. And he figures, well, it would probably be easier to do it if I had a mentor. So if you had somebody teaching you, it'd probably be easier to be doing this. He also thinks to himself, it would probably be easier if I had more free time to skate. It'd probably be easier if I didn't have to do anything but just focus on skating. So he's like, okay, so that's something I got to do if I want a higher ROI on my time. Because the other guy, he maybe works like a job. Maybe he's working at a pizza place, and that takes up a lot of his time. And then this guy thinks also, maybe I should read about what other pro skaters have done so that I can take what they've done and implement it into my life. And so this guy sees that there's like these things that he could do. So he's like, okay, where's the bottleneck? So he thinks to himself, well, if I have relatively infinite money where it's like my needs are met, then I have relatively infinite time and I can get a mentor. And so he figures that's probably a really good step before he even starts trying. And then he thinks to himself, well, maybe even before then, I could do some studying. And so he tells himself, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this plan. I'm going to study other pro skaters and I'm going to study like the world of skating. And then I'm going to work on a business first, which has nothing to do with my goal, apparently, at first glance. So I'm going to focus on a business so that I can get the money to pay for one of these mentors. And then in that time, I'm going to do my studying. And so then by the time I get here, I just have like pure unadulterated focus on my mission and my plan of becoming a pro skater. And then maybe he also sets up a regiment where he says, I know kind of the roadmap of the things that I need to get done in certain orders based off of what he learned when he was studying, where it's like, I'm going to do these things in this order so that I can get a higher ROI. And I'm not trying to spend resources on something I'm not ready yet, and then wind up wasting a bunch of time and emotional resources and breaking a ton of skateboards. Who do you think is going to become a pro skater faster? It's probably the second guy. It depends on how long it takes him to build a business, which building a business is not easy. This is just an example. Building a business takes a long time. But generally, when your money problem is solved, that tends to solve 80% of other problems. If you can solve the money problem, most other problems in your life become easily solvable. So here's a really good principle for proper order of magnitude is if you just want a better life, first focus on the money. Like the money is actually the first thing you should focus on. How do I get more money? Then I can go do whatever I want to do. And this doesn't mean that you can't start, but you keep this as the focus and then you do something else productive in the background that's related to your goal. But the second guy will probably become a pro skater, and this first guy will probably just get burnt out, sad, and just not really go anywhere. And I hate to be the one to tell you that like life has costs. It does. If you want to overcome those costs, if you want to actually get out from wherever you are and get to wherever you want to go, you are so much better off making investments because investments are powerful. Investments work for you while you sleep. And I'm not talking about money right now. I'm talking about investing your time into things that save you more time, which could be money and could actually be financial investments. It just depends on where your bottleneck is. Is your bottleneck knowledge? Well, then you need to break that bottleneck. Is your bottleneck freedom? Maybe you have too many commitments and you're tied to too many things. Well, then you need to break that bottleneck first before you try and do anything. And you get like 40 times less than the results of somebody who just did it with one more unit of focus than you over a period of time, where it's like 40, whatever the metric is here, years, I don't know. So proper order magnitude, let's review. Proper order magnitude is doing things in the right sequence that is going to save you the most time, the most money, the most headaches. And so you're going to wind up happy and you're going to get 100x a return on your investment by slowing down and sharpening the axe. Which if you've never heard that metaphor, it's something that Abraham Lincoln said, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. Why would he do that? He saves a ton of energy and time. He's probably going to get that tree chopped in 1 hour. And so he saves an hour because he's actually saving more than 1 hour. If you think about it, he's saving like 5. He's basically 5xing his return, but there was an investment of 4 hours. So that gives him 1 extra unit of fast is how you can think about it. Overall, that's his profit. And if you live a life where you do this every single time, then guess what? That compounds. Now you have a life where your average day, you're getting 10 times what somebody else is making decisions and doing things. And your plans have this proper order magnitude, which means that you're getting 10x every day and you probably 10x'd your output. And then here's the thing about interest is once you get more, you can invest more easier. And so then you can just keep raising this and stacking it. And this is how you create like an infinite feedback loop. This is like the infinite money glitch. You use resources to get more resources. And then you take those new resources and use them to get more resources. But you can get there so much faster if you just ask yourself, okay, what's the order that would make the most sense for this? Maybe you should learn how to think and how to study before you try to build a business. I realize it's too late and I'm starting now. Whoopsie, I'm impulsive. But just having this mindset and doing it, and if you can get this into your heart, then you are going to be blisteringly fast compared to other people because you gain more resources that can make you faster, which the main ones would be clarity. Or if it's like a compounding skill acquisition where it's like, I'm going to learn to think, then I'm going to learn to study, then I'm going to learn to program or something. And so then you gain this skill like 100 times faster than somebody else because you have these two things in your back pocket. Examples. So yeah, there you have it. Proper order magnitude. This can literally save you years, and it applies to all time scales, not just years. But if you apply it to a shorter time scale, it will also save you years. So even just implementing this on a day-to-day basis But thank you guys so much for watching. This is a pretty small channel, and I appreciate the consistent 10 views from the people who I know watch my videos pretty regularly. Go ahead and comment down below if you're one of those people, or say hi if you're somebody who's subscribing just now. If you guys have any productivity questions, put them in the comments. I go and I batch work my comments. I try to answer all of them. So if you have any questions, you want any help with anything, go ahead and leave a comment down below. You can also click the link in the description to just have a one-on-one chat with me, and we can talk about your productivity. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. That is the most important metric. Consider leaving a like. Peace, guys. God bless.